Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Intro to Real Estate Investing. I'm your host, Eric Lackey, the realtor, the investor, the guy. I'm the real estate guy. All right. So today we're going to talk about buy and hold investors. There are four types of real estate investors. Is what I've categorized them to. There's different methods beyond this, but this is the basics, and I can go into other methods much later. But there's also a few rules that I want to talk about. First, so the first strategy is buy and hold. Buy and hold are generally looking for your cash flow. They're looking for a little appreciation, and they're looking to for the tax benefits, basically. And so your buy and hold investors are generally what you'd be working with as a realtor. Um, some fix and flip, mostly buy and hold. And we'll go over that when we go to the fix and flip. All right. So there's two main methods for buy and hold investors. There's the BRRRR method and turnkey investments. So turnkey investments are basically when the house is fine, does not need any renovation, there's no room to add value. You just buy the house, rent it out. More than likely, it's already been renovated by someone else, and they're just trying to get it out of their portfolio, and it's an easy investment. Um, when you do this kind of investing, you're generally looking for a certain amount of cash flow. So a lot of people will say, 200 per door, 400 per door. It depends on the the market, basically. In an expensive market like Clarksville, you might not be getting a lot, but you're really banking on the tax advantages, which I'll go over in another video. All right. So another type is the BRRRR method. The BRRRR method came up. David Green from Bigger Pockets wrote a book on it. It's really good, really good read. And Bigger Pockets podcast, just a shout out to them, is a huge amount of information, and the website, articles, everything. I've put some sources on the side here where I have kind of learned most of my knowledge. Um, it I would suggest looking into something like that if any of this interests you at all. And if you're a real estate professional, definitely get on Bigger Pockets and register with them. All right, next. So the BRRRR method. First thing you do, you buy the house, you renovate it, and so you're looking for a house that needs some kind of value add, whether that's uh, it needs work, or you see where you can put an extra room in there, you see where you can add whatever that will add to the value of the house. So once you do that, you find a renter for it. The way you're making money, you refinance. So once you refinance, hopefully all the money you put in, you're getting out, or at least most of it. It's okay to leave money in a deal. It's never an issue. Sometimes leaving money in a deal works out better in the long run. Um, Financial reasons, and that's again a more complicated financial problem I can talk about later. Uh, so once you get all your money out, then you repeat it doing something else. So with this method, you need some money or from someone or yourself, but you keep using that same pot of money over and over again, and it's easy to just kind of do that once you get it down. I will say you need to have the right lender for that understands what you're doing. And in the book, he actually talks more about that. So it's definitely another plug for that book. All right, 1031 exchange is uh, let's see. Basically, so you buy a house worth $100,000 and you sell it for $150,000. You made $50,000 capital. So your capital gains tax is going to come down pretty hard on that. One way to avoid that all the money you made on that property, the appreciation, is to a 1031 exchange. There's a lot of rules with 1031 exchange, and it's complicated. But basically, the basis of it is you have a certain amount of time to buy another property to not get taxed capital gains. So that $50,000 can be put into another property within, I think it's 6 months. There's certain rules, but generally that time frame, and then you're good. So doing that can force some investors into making decisions that they may not want to make. It's a little more stressful of a process, but they also might be holding onto their property to sell it until they can have some kind of idea of where they want to put the money. All right. So 1%, 2% rule. This is the absolute basis. Every buy and hold investor will know what you're talking about when you say 1%, 2% rule. So if I buy a house for right now, if I'm living, so the quadplex I have right now, it is worth $380,000, and it rents for $950 a door times 4. So that means it comes out to $3,800 a month in gross. So that's 1% of the 380,000. We can go into how these houses are valued when it goes beyond the single family home, but generally all you need to know is it needs to rent for 1% of the value. The Clarksville is not very good with that. Single family homes especially, but multifamily homes right now they're trying to sell them at 0.8%, maybe even 7. I think people are overpaying big time for multifamily in Clarksville, but they're banking on appreciation and they have their strategies and I have mine. So, all right, next thing we'll talk about is cash on cash return. So when I invest into a property, if I invest $20,000 into a property, I'm looking for a certain amount of cash on cash return. So if I invest that 20,000 and that's the down payment, that's whatever fees, whatever renovations, and I'm looking for that or more on the return, the gross at the annual gross at the end of the year. So everyone kind of has their own rules, but the better cash on cash return you can get, the better off you are. And if you use the BRRRR method, a lot of times you can get almost all your cash out. So if I got all but 10,000 out and I'm making 20,000 a year gross, then that's a 200% return, cash on cash return. So that's awesome. But there's your basics for buy and hold investors. I'll go over more at another video on the fix and flip, wholesaler, and the syndicator. Just very basic, and then possibly this is something that you guys like. We'll continue with more and more. All right, signing out. Later.